Good morning. Welcome to the premiere edition of Hot Chocolate News. And I'm your lovely host, Chiquila Richardson, the Black Girl Magic Master herself, the CEO and owner of that wonderful minority tech business that you're just now hearing about. Oh yeah, we're helping build people up. We're helping people write the vision and make it really plain. With me being a certified financial advisor, pursuing my doctorate degree in business, I want to help others. I feel like it's my call. It's my mission. But today, we're going to get into what news that you probably didn't even hear about before the bell drops. All right, let's get into it. There's three things according to Morning Brew. Hold on, let me make sure we look good. Oh, look at us. Let's get ourselves together. All right. Now that we're together, because I won't be able to see you guys, but you will be able to see me. Let's get into today's three things. Well, let's get into today's news, shall we? So, according to Morning Brew, there's three things that we need to know today. One, that it's Ukrainian Independence Day and exactly 6 months since the war actually started. Number two, President Biden will make a major announcement on student loan relief today. And number three, Elon Musk's defense against Twitter, because he's been lacking a little lately, got a little stronger today. You know what I'm saying? We'll get into that in just a second here, but let's talk about the market. So stocks, they barely budged on a day when surveys showed concerning drops in business activity in the U.S. There was real concerning drops in business activity in the U.S., Europe, and Japan. Zoom appears to have run up against the 40-minute time limit. You know what I'm saying? The video conferencing company reported underwhelming revenues in quarter two. And basically, they lowered its guidance for the rest of the year. Ooh, Zoom is feeling the effects of us being back outside. You know what I'm saying? We back outside. You know what I'm saying? We have moved beyond the pandemic buying patterns. This is what the CFO of Zoom is saying now. Now, let's get into what Elon Musk is doing with Twitter right now. So the former security chief alleges that Twitter has a massive security issue. Okay. So if an explosive whistleblower complaint is true, then Twitter executive deceived federal officials about extensive security issues within the app that leaves users their potential information vulnerable and could even pose a risk to national security. So the whistleblower who agreed to have his identity revealed publicly was a pretty big deal at Twitter. You know what I'm saying? It's the company's former security chief, Peter Mudge Zatko. Okay, now in an 84-page complaint sent to Congress last month and obtained by the Washington Post and CNN, Zatko, he alleged that senior Twitter execs covered up major security flaws for more than a decade and that multiple foreign intelligence agencies may have employees embedded within, this company of Twitter. So if a government investigation finds that Zatko's allegations are true, Twitter could basically face billions of dollars in fines as it heads into this costly legal battle with Elon Musk. So what exactly does this whistleblower complaint say, and how could it affect the Musk case, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's bad. Under the terms of the 2011 FTC settlement, Twitter agreed to create and maintain a robust security plan subject to independent audits. Now, according to Zatko's complaint, that didn't happen. Zatko alleges that the company's servers use outdated software, and key information about the security breaches was withheld from directors. So as a result, he alleges that Twitter deals with approximately one security incident per week. And that's serious enough to require disclosure to the government agencies. Come on now. So in an email to employees, Twitter CEO Parag Agrawal, he criticized the whistleblower. He basically criticized the whistleblower's complaint as being a false narrative that is riddled with inconsistencies and inaccuracies. So what it all means for Musk here is that Zacko alleges that the executive bonuses of up to $10 million tied to daily user growth have significantly de-incentivized them to eliminate spam from Twitter. On Twitter, you know what I'm saying? And that claim could basically help Elon Musk attempt to pull out of that $44 billion purchase of the company. And as his case hinges on allegations that Twitter is miscounting how many bots it actually has. So while the binding agreement Musk signed to purchase the company, Twitter didn't include any exceptions for bot numbers. The accusation that Twitter has misled shareholders and regulators about the number could help his case, basically, period, point blank. Now, as we tour the headlines in Morning Brew, we see that no day but today for a student loan announcement. You feel what I'm saying? Now, President Biden is expected to reveal his ultra-hyped decision on student loan relief today. Now, for one, I can't wait to hear what he's about to say. Now, see, the administration is reportedly considering wiping out $10,000 of student loan debt for borrowers earning less than $125,000 annually. And it used to be $150,000, I'm just saying, and extending the freeze on loan payments for another 4 months at least. So Biden is balancing competing pressures from the progressive wing of his party, which is pushing for even more relief, and the moderates in the middle, who warn that too much forgiveness could hurt the fight against inflation. This is the big, forget the moderates, Biden. Help us help you. We got to get this new skilled workforce together. And we had to go and get the education to do it. I digress. So now, crisis to take on DeSantis in Florida. Let's talk about it. So Representative Charlie Crist won the Democratic primary for governor of Florida, setting up a high-stakes contest in the fall against the incumbent Republican asshole Ron DeSantis. Now, this will be one of the most closely watched races because I, for one, got to see if his ass gets ousted out of there. But anyway, this will be one of the most closely watched races of the midterms. Now, DeSantis has become a national figure for pushing back against what he considers the woke culture. Oh my God. Including waging public battles with corporations that have criticized his policies, like Disney. Okay, so Democrats hope that Chris, who was formerly the Florida governor as a Republican, can blunt out DeSantis' rise. All right, you know what I'm saying? Because this has got to happen. Now, did y'all know, according to Morning Brew News in today's, as we tour the headlines, U.S. life expectancy plunged in 2020. We know we had the pandemic and everything, but life expectancy in the U.S. dropped the most in 2020 since World War II. Declining in all 50 states, and DC, it was due to COVID and unintentional injuries, such as drug overdoses and things of that nature, the CDC says. But who are we trusting this? Anyways, the state where residents can expect to live the longest, though, is, as you figured, Hawaii. Because they're living to be about 80.7 years old. And coming in last, place that you don't want to stay, the state you don't want to stay with the life expectancy of only 71.9 years, that's Mississippi. Oh, also New York's life expectancy dropped by about a whopping 3 years. So anyway, let's go ahead and continue to go through some of this, some of today's news. I don't know if y'all know who, so it says Murdoch fighting defamation battles on multiple fronts. Who is this Murdoch? So on Monday, an Australian news site named, and this is not a joke, Crikey took out an ad. Now it's called Crikey, okay? It took out an ad in the New York Times imploring Fox Corporation CEO Lachlan Murdoch to sue it. So he did. Yesterday, Murdoch filed a defamation lawsuit against Crikey over an article that called the Murdochs the unindicted co-conspirators in former President Trump's attack on democracy and the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. The article didn't mention Lachlan by name or his father, also known as Rupert, but Lachlan's lawyer claimed the allegations in the article were false and calculated to harm Mr. Murdoch. You know what I'm saying? So here we're going to zoom out here. There are 2 points of context that make this story particularly noteworthy. First of all, Australia's defamation laws are much more favorable to the plaintiff than they are to the U.S. In the U.S. Okay, so in urging Murdoch to sue Crikey, basically it said that the ensuing legal case would test what an honest, open public debate actually means for free speech in Australia. So number 2, as Murdoch pursues his own defamation case in Australia, where he is a citizen, Fox News is facing 2 multi-billion-dollar lawsuits from voting machine companies in U.S., which are accusing the network of repeatedly making false claims that they played in a role in basically siphoning votes from Trump in 2020 election. Go on with your bad self. Whoever giving these multi-billion-dollar lawsuits, I applaud, I commend, and I approve this message. All right, let's go ahead because we only got about, okay, so, hey, listen, there's going to be a big Fed symposium in Jackson Hole, okay, Kansas City, tomorrow. And I'm going to be letting y'all know what's going down. But the Feds have already been hawkish. They done raised the point 75 points. The thing is, y'all, let's just get into it. The Feds are too hitched to things they can't even freaking control. And this is going to be a problem because this is the Democrats running the Feds right now. And I just don't need this right now. I don't need this right now with all these crazies running around talking about insurrection and stuff like that. What I need is for the Feds to unhitch themselves from things they can't even control. We can't control the inflation. I'm so sorry. We can't do that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Or these headline prices that they keep on wanting to talk about. And they have made a small mention of that. But they need to stick to the point. Y'all, listen, the Fed does not control inflation. You do. And matter of fact, they're seeing that the job numbers, the labor numbers are the most lagging indicator we have, period. And so basically, businesses have stopped spending. Businesses are going to stop hiring. I mean, there's always in the future. There's so many layoffs planned for the future. So I just don't know anymore. You know what I'm saying? There was a real collapse in manufacturing in June. It really was. It really was. I mean, the volume of spending, consumer spending, even though the U.S. dollar is number one and among the world. And everybody else is really flailing or whatnot. It's just crowded. It's just, like I said, layoffs are on the horizon. And basically, housing is expected to go into a nice little tailspin. So y'all better get ready for that. I just want y'all to know that. And, in some good news, I don't know if this is good news, but like I said, it's Ukrainian Independence Day today. They're celebrating it. And, Biden is giving them $3 billion in money for it. Of course, for some more defensive supplies and things of that nature. But did y'all know that Japan is going to embrace the nuclear power situation again? I just want y'all to know that. And that, my friend, is letting me know some things are crazy. Crazy. And like I said, I need to get back on my soapbox about this whole labor market indicators. These indicators are so lagging. People are not paying their bills. Okay, and it looks like we need to analyze jobs, wages, and economics to really gauge what's really going on here. And you know what what the other people are saying, what's really going on? They saying that we need to force unemployment. I told you, when you see inflation, think job loss. So it's going to be a lot of unemployment. And who does that affect? It affects the poorest. It affects the poorest. The basically the credit invisible people, the people that pay their bills in cash. Message: don't be credit invisible anymore, because these people can't get loans. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? These people can't get loans, and that whole making up fake paperwork and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna come and get you, because the more money you claiming, the more time you're gonna spend it. You know what I'm saying? But the standard deviation surge is very high in natural gas and energy right now. There's dirty fuel running around in Europe. You know what I'm saying? And basically, shit is getting deep. You know what I'm saying? Oh, did y'all know that TikTok is not allowing no paid political influencers? I just thought y'all should know that. And I reported about 3 or 4 months ago about the world's richest company, to the point where they didn't even have to do stocks or something. They said they didn't even need no more money. That company was named Tencent. Now, Tencent just reported sales are falling because China's economy is sinking, and layoffs in tech is basically giving them a downward turn for the second world superpower. Oh my. And do you know that the older people in Britain, they got to go back to work? Yeah, they no longer can they retire. And those that are in retirement need to come on out of the retirement and start working. So the young people and the older people are going to be competing for jobs in Europe right now. And usually what happens in Europe kind of comes down over here eventually. Um, mm, mm. Basically, the stock market is just at a record period of uncertainty right now. And they're only concerned with front end in band-aids, headline news. But there's definitely a cost of living crisis happening in around the world. And Target has too much inventory, so that means we're going to be having big deals this Christmas. So everybody be planning to shop with Target. And monkeypox maker no longer certain it can meet the demands. Discounts shrink for U.S. renters fleeing cities for the suburbs. The shift is a blow for the apartment hunters already squeezed by escalating costs and few options for relief. Today's headline news, today's news is a bit depressing, but I'm gonna just take you down a little bit further. I want to report a couple more things before I let y'all off of this. We're gonna be done at 9:15. I promise. But I think y'all need to understand there's a couple of things that y'all didn't know was going down. I want to report that Consumer Reports are saying that there's certain electric vehicles that will not qualify for that new EV tax credit. These current and upcoming EVs and 2 fuel cell vehicles are not made in North America, and therefore won't qualify for a tax credit, although they might change in the future if their assembly location changes. But those cars that will not be qualified for that tax credit is the Audi e-tron, the Fisker Ocean, the Genesis GB60, or the Genesis GB60, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 or the Hyundai Ioniq 6, the Hyundai Kona Electric won't be, the Hyundai Nexo, Jaguar I-Pace won't be there, the Kia EV6 won't be a credit, the Kia Niro Electric, nope, the Lexus RZ, not an EV credit. Mazda MX-30, not an EV credit. Mercedes-Benz EQB, not an EV credit. Nissan Ariya, not an EV credit. Polestar 2, Subaru Solterra, Toyota BZ4X, Toyota Mirai, Volkswagen ID.4, only certain models, and the Volvo C40. Not going to be available for this upcoming EV electric vehicle tax credit here in America. In addition, regardless of where they're assembled, these vehicles are too expensive to be considered for the EV tax credit. Those are the Audi e-tron GT, the BMW i4, the BMW i7, the BMW i10, the Chevrolet Silverado EV with certain options and trim levels, the Ford F-150 Lightning with certain options and trim levels will not be available for this upcoming EV tax credit. The Genesis G80 Electric will not. The GMC Hummer EV, the Lucid Air, the Mercedes-Benz EQE or the EQS will not be available. They will not get this EV tax credit. The Porsche Taycan, nope. The Rivian R1T with certain options and trim levels won't be available, won't be able to get that EV tax credit. Tesla Cybertruck with certain options and trim levels, no tax credit. Tesla Model S, no, too expensive for the EV tax credit. And the Tesla Model X, as in xylophone, will not be able to get this EV tax credit. So that Model S, as in Sam, and that Model X, as in X-ray, will not be available for that EV tax credit, because they're too expensive. Now, EV tax credit details in this Inflation Reduction Act says basically new electric and fuel cell vehicles will get a tax credit of up to $7,500. Some plug-in hybrid vehicles will also continue to qualify. It says only vehicles that cost below a certain amount will qualify for SUVs, pickup trucks, and vans. The threshold is basically $80,000. For sedans, hatchbacks, wagons, and other vehicles, the credit cuts off at $55,000. Read more about these affordable EVs at your own convenience. There will be no limit on the number of vehicles an automaker can sell that are eligible for the credit. Unlike in prior years, the exact amount of the new tax credit will depend on a complex set of calculations based on where the vehicles are assembled and where the materials that make up the batteries are sourced. These requirements get stricter each year through 2026. So the bill calls for proposed regulations on the specifics of these requirements by the end of December, which will likely be finalized sometime in 2023. Now, only vehicles assembled in North America will be eligible for a tax credit. The exclusion of vehicles with components from foreign entities of concern include Russia and China, and that will go into effect of December 31st of 2023. So starting in 2024, dealers will be able to offer the value of a tax credit up front to customers. And this may simply simplify the process for car buyers, and car buyers must meet certain income guidelines. Households with an adjusted gross income of $300,000 will still qualify for the credit, while head of households must be below $225,000, and the individual filers will qualify only with income below the $150,000 mark. Now, for the first time, buyers of used EVs will get a tax credit, either $4,000 or 30% of the sale price of the vehicle, whichever is lower, but only if they buy a car from a dealership. Now, that's crazy. Now, the income threshold is lower for EV buyers, so $150,000. For joint filers, $112,500 for a head of household, and $75,000 for an individual. So bi-directional EV chargers, ones that can also power your house using the energy stored in the car's battery, are now eligible for tax incentives. So a brief editor's note, this article originally was published on August 8th, 2022, and has been updated to clarify provisions of the legislation, which goes into effect on which dates. It also updated on August 16th after the bill was signed. So, I just wanted to bring that to your attention about that. Also, I wanted to bring to your attention, let's see, 7 reasons why diseases are spreading. And I think this is important as we finish out here. Yes, there are more infectious diseases popping up these days, and experts say that there are 7 clear reasons why, and then we're going to end. Basically, we got the polio, the monkeypox, the Marburg virus, and other infectious diseases. They're surging around the globe, people. Experts say that there's not one thing driving the surge. A multi-layer perfect storm has basically been brewing up for some time, according to Business Insider or Insider News. And leading factors include the pace of the international travel, as well as human wildlife contact. You know what I'm saying? Because 2022 has been a banner year for global infection disease spreading. And like I said, it's not just COVID. According to Insider, first, there were the reports of the little kid with the mysterious and life-threatening liver failure across the U.S. and Europe. And then monkeypox cases surged across the globe like never before. Then meningitis has killed at least a dozen people in Florida this year, according to the state epidemiologist, while a fatal, it's called the paracovirus, infected newborns across several states. At least one baby died in Connecticut, and in Australia and in Belgium, diphtheria made a comeback. And cases of the Marburg virus are being identified for the first time ever in Ghana. Then just last week, New York City announced that there is polio in wastewater, mirroring a highly unusual trend picked up in London sewers in the spring. It's like all the biblical plagues are coming back, proclaimed Dr. Madhukar Pai, a global health expert at McGill. This is what he told Insider. He said it didn't happen overnight, and it's not a direct result of the pandemic either, but disease experts agree that the pace of these infectious outbreaks is quickening, people. Dr. Pai and other top-tier experts say there is no single simplistic explanation. Instead, they're saying there's a wide web of at least 7 powerful interwoven issues undergirding this trend. And it's definitely, Dr. Jay Varmer, he said, it's definitely not something that we hope would happen in public health, but it's also a situation that we feared might happen. That's what Dr. Jay Varmer said. And he's an expert in disease control, and he's in prevention at Cornell. So he said, if you think it's almost like a sports event, the offense got even more tense. The offense got more intense. If you consider the viruses and the pathogens that are out there, our defenses has weakened at the same time. And as NFL season is starting, and I'm starting to really understand the game, oh my God, that scares me. Doesn't that scare you? Oh my God. So here are the top 7 factors driving disease outbreaks in 2022, according to Insider News on your hot chocolate news premiere by what? The Black Girl Magic Master herself, Shaquila. Anyway, here are the top 7 factors driving disease outbreaks. And y'all, wait a minute. Did y'all hit the subscribe button yet? Did you even share this yet? Are you liking this yet? At least like, send some love. All right. Okay, well, when I start making sure all of this content is only paid for, you're going to be wishing and missing my little take on what's really going on here. I'm pursuing my doctor, yo. I am not new to this. I am true to this. And at 46 years old, you better start listening to me. But anyway, back to those 7 factors driving outbreaks in 2022. 1, humans and animals are having more close contact. As climate change pushes people and animals out of their homes, pets and animal products travel the globe, and worldwide demand for meat reaches an all-time high, where we're collectively coming in contact with all kinds of animals far more often than we're used to. So the human-animal interface has been broken, as Dr. Larry Brilliant, who helped eradicate smallpox, recently put it. The World Health Organization estimated in 2014 that 75% of today's emerging pathogens have originated in animals, a number that has been accelerating in recent decades. Human-animal interaction is how COVID first spread into people. Ebola, HIV, MERS, SARS, influenza, and monkeypox all have animal reservoirs too. When a disease pivots from animals into people, it always has the potential to spawn a new outbreak, according to this article in Insider. See, Dr. Varma says the first factor that's driving transmission is increasing interaction between human and animals in settings that are not entirely natural or settings that are different from the way that they have been in the past. So that's what Dr. Varma said. Now, deforestation, sequestration of livestock, and illicit wildlife trade, they also all play a freaking role. See, human population is now so enormous that we will infiltrate into all sorts of ecosystems where we will encounter novel organisms, organisms to which we don't have much prior immunity. And this is what Dr. Pai added. All right. So number 2, the pace of global travel and migration. Basically, that is interconnected social nature. The global interconnected social nature of the modern life helps spread diseases between people more efficiently than ever. Any infectious disease anywhere in the world is just one freaking flight away. Every time someone gets on a plane, there is some. See, this is Dr. Eric Rubin talking. He said every time someone gets on a plane, there is some very tiny risk that they're going to be carrying something new with them. He went on to say, the more people get on planes, the more that risk goes up. You know what I'm saying? It's a numbers game. And with the numbers of air travelers now skyrocketing, new pathogens can travel very far and very fast. So in 2022, both monkeypox and polio hitched a nice little ride on what? Planes, infecting people on new continents. You know, conversely, when global travel grounded to a halt in 2020, the flu essentially disappeared for a year. The flu. So anyway, number 3, the worsening climate crisis. Listen, a paper released in the journal Nature of August 8th suggests that most of the human pathogens on Earth will be aggravated by climate change in some way. Many of them already have been. Insect-borne diseases are really changing their patterns because the insects that carry them now have a much broader range. Rubin said, citing the way that the Zika, once a disease contained in Africa, has been allowed to spread across Asia and the Americas, chikungunya too is now a global disease, not the regional threat it once was. The tropics have moved into Europe and North America. This is what Dr. Varmer has warned and said. Number 4, on 7 factors are why deadly diseases are increasing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this content. Love on your girl. My goodness, I am the Black Girl Magic Master herself, Shaquila. My purpose in this world is to restore my community financially, period, point blank, and relay messages that y'all need to hear that y'all probably too busy to get to. And that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. You know what I'm saying? I'm a smart girl. I'm a smart girl. Number 4, there's not enough routine vaccines for the children, for the little kiddos. This is one reason why this situation. This is factor number 4. It says that during the pandemic, vaccination rates plummeted. Now, I'm so sorry that I said it was only going to be 10 more minutes, but y'all, I didn't know we was going to get this down. We fell down the rabbit hole. Continue with me. Hey, I'm Alice. So during the pandemic, the vaccination rates plummeted across the globe in a way that hasn't been documented in decades. The WHO calls it the largest sustained decline in childhood vaccinations in approximately 30 years. Now, add to that vaccination backsliding that has already been underway in many rich countries. So, and these rich countries are fueled by what? Misinformation, vaccine hesitancy, and it was inevitable that an uptick in vaccine preventable disease spread would happen once lockdowns, social distancing, and masking measures were eased. Dr. Varmer says we need everyone to get vaccinated. We all face risks, period. And in some areas in Rockland County, New York, where polio has left at least one young, unvaccinated man paralyzed this year, just 37% of little kids are up to date on their polio vaccines. For content, nationally, 93% of babies are vaccinated against polio. just for context. But number 5 of factors that are driving up, 7 factors that are literally driving up this world's deadly disease situation. So, number 5, the whole world is paying the price for years of neglecting developing country disease outbreaks. Yeah, me and Insider said it. We said it all these years. Africans have had monkeypox, and nobody did a thing. Nobody gave them vaccines, Dr. Pye said. And now suddenly, all the rich nations are going after and getting monkeypox vaccinations. Eventually, he said, we paid a price for such archaic, patriarchal, and short-sighted disease management. You know what I'm saying? Because if monkeypox had been handled better in Africa, it wouldn't have spread around the world. And if COVID had been handled better in low and middle income countries, new variants would have not emerged. And if Ebola had been contained in West Africa even before it spread, then it wouldn't have ever arrived in the United States. You know, so number 6 on the 7 factors that are driving up the spread of deadly disease. Number 6 is our shifting perception of disease threats. For God's sakes, we've also been shaped by our experiences during the pandemic, according to Insider. And we can't help but bring this knowledge into infectious disease news we read now, right? So in some cases, it's overblown, Dr. Pye says. Some little outbreak happens in some corner, some market in China. Immediately, everybody's across the world is freaking out. This is what Dr. Pye said. And in many heightened concern is warranted. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that it don't be warranted, but sometimes it's not. But these days, scientists also have better tools than ever for noticing what's going on, basically sequencing these viruses, testing cases, and sounding the alarm on things they couldn't have done years ago. Like, for real, COVID has really changed the way we notice things. And this is what Dr. Rubin says, speaking about average news readers and professional scientists alike. Every day there's a disease of some sort reported somewhere in the world. This is what Dr. Rubin said. And that is in part because we are all paying more attention to them than we used to. So this is going to drive up these deadly diseases worldwide because we're more in tune. We're just more in tune. And finally, number 7 of the 7 factors that are driving up the spread of deadly disease across the globe is that we're still not sure how COVID exposure has affected our immune systems. New disease threats are especially alarming right now because it's not yet clear to us what effect prior COVID could have been having on our immune defenses. You know what I'm saying? It's like literally, we will learn in the coming months and years, Dr. Pye said, that whether COVID does mess up the immune system to some degree or other, which makes us more susceptible. Already, he's worried that doctors' overdependence on steroids and antibiotic prescriptions during this pandemic may spur more fungal infections, superbugs, and antimicrobial resistance. You know, another pandemic is coming, and we could stop it, but experts fear we've given up. Okay, scientists estimate our odds of experiencing another pandemic may double in coming decades. And as disease outbreaks fueled by this wide array of interrelated, complex factors become more and more common, this is going to keep on, our odds. But when it comes to disease prevention, you're better off not thinking that the 10 plagues have been released simultaneously. See, each disease is distinct with different biological features, distinct reasons for emerging, in varying modes of transmission and prevention. So let's not all get caught up in feeling like Pandora's box is officially completely open. The answer is more investment needs to be had in the public health. You know what I'm saying? This is what Dr. Pai is asking, and I'm asking that, right? You know what I'm saying? It's often stuff that we've given up on. He said interventions that are undermined, like clean drinking water, good sanitation, vaccines, equitable access to treatment and clinical care, as well as some robust disease research. Our racism and the way we think about infectious diseases, he says, eventually will come back and haunt us. And the article ends with, which is what's happening. All right, y'all. I just want to thank y'all for joining me for today's Hot Chocolate News. My first time premiering this situation. And this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to get down with. I'm going to try to adhere to a nice schedule. Try is the operative word. But thank you for joining me. And I will see you guys in a minute. All right. Love, peace, and hair grease. And for that one person watching, you are the truth. May you have continued blessings. May the ancestors, may everybody, may they shine upon you. Peace.